Hi guys, welcome to the next lecture of our series Tech Bytes. This is the second part of our previous video, that is Introduction to Python for Machine Learning. In this video we will cover the rest of our agenda, that is lists, tuples and dictionaries, control flow statements that are if statement, for and while loop, and the last but not the least, args and kwargs. So let's get started. So after completing strings and variables, we have more data structures such as lists, tuples, these are most data structures, dictionaries. So let us study about all these three one by one. So first comes lists. List is something like an array of different numbers, or you can say strings, or even the floating numbers or characters. So suppose I want to have a list of squares of different numbers. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Okay, so I need to print this list. So I can see that we have a list of the numbers we have given to the list. Even after that, we can append a number. So if I run this and see my result after appending, I will get a new list. The limitation of this append function is that we can only pass one argument in it, that is, we can pass only one value. So if I have to pass different values, I can use extend function. So suppose I need to extend this list. So 49, 64, 81. So I'll print this. Oops. Okay, so I can pass here the list. Okay, so I can give out the values. Okay, so suppose if I try to pass this kind of syntax to append function, suppose I give a value 100 here and run this. So you can see the difference, that the append function is making another list in this list, that is nested list. So I don't want this behavior, as I am just adding some elements in my list. So that's why we need to use extend function to remove this functionality. Okay, even in this we can print a particular number by using syntax like this. I will get the value on the index 16th, and similarly like -2 or -3 you can say. So I will get the third last element of the list. So we can concatenate another list with this list by just putting plus sign and mentioning the list 100, 121, 144. So if I run this, so I can concatenate another list into my previous list, that is squares. Unlike strings which are immutable, lists are a mutable type, which means you can change any value in the list. So suppose I make a new list of cubes of numbers A1, 8, 27, and by mistake I type 65 here, and after that 125. Okay, so here something went wrong in the list. So as we know that the cube of 4 is 64, so I want to replace this wrong value. I can do this. Hopefully I can do this. So the index of this particular number is 3. So on third index I can mention 64 and again print cubes. Okay, so I am able to fix this as the lists are mutable data structure. So the list can have any type of data type in it. So these are heterogeneous. So if I make a list something like this, so it is possible to have different data types in one list, and I can print this list 1, right? Okay, so there is no issue in this. We have seen that. We can also nest lists, which means to create lists that contain other lists. So this can be useful in making 2D arrays, right? So suppose I make few lists. Suppose we have a list A that contains some characters B, C, and one more list 1, 2, 3, and last list A, N. If we print X, we can see that we have initialized X with two lists, that is A and N, that will be acting like sublist of this list X. So suppose we want to print X 0th index. So here we can see that the first sublist, that was A, has been printed here. So if I want to print the 0th index of sublist that is in the main list X, so I have to write something like X 0 and 0. So this will print the character A, the string A, we can say. So that's all about the list we want to know right now. So after that, here comes the tuples. It can be useful at times to create data structures that won't be altered later in a program, such as to protect constant data from being overwritten on accident or to improve performance for iterating over data. This is where tuples come in. You create tuples much as you do lists, only using parentheses instead of brackets. So we need to initialize tuples with parentheses rather than square brackets. So 1 2 3, and we can print this to see how it looks like. So yes, so the main difference is that the tuples will have parentheses rather than square brackets. Unlike lists, we cannot change the value of particular index in between, right? So if we try to do it, we get the similar error that we got before in strings. We can also convert a list into tuple by typing L is equals to baked beans spam. So this is the list and we want to change it into tuples, so we can do it by using constructor of tuple. So yes, if we try to print this out, okay, so now we can see that our list has been converted into tuple. So vice versa, we can do the same with tuple as well. So if I want to change this out again, so I can type something like, this is the constructor of list and pass L in it, and I can print this out. We can also check if a particular element does belongs to list or a tuple. So this test can be performed on both list and tuple. So suppose I want to check if beans is a member of this list, so I can use this keyword in and write this. So I will get a boolean value, true or false. Okay, so I have to put these codes. So yes, so I am getting true value. Okay, this is all about tuples. Now comes dictionaries. Dictionaries are similar to hash maps that are key values pairs, where you have to attach a value to a key. Suppose, let me take an example in which I have some vegetables where the name of the vegetable will perform as the key and the price of that particular vegetable will be a value. So suppose we have tomato and the price is 100, suppose, and onion that has multiple values. So the price of onion will be multiple, so 20, 30 and 50. So yes, this is our dictionary. So let me print all of these. So yes, so even we can see that the type of this data structure is dictionary. So this belongs to the class dictionary, and after that we can print the keys, or we can say the vegetables of this particular dictionary by writing keys, and we can print the values by this syntax. So you can see that we have got the keys as vegetable names and values as prices of the particular vegetables. And after that, even we can print the price of particular vegetable by writing print veggies, and in square bracket we can mention the name of vegetable and can get the values. This is all for the dictionaries. Now we come to the control flow. Control flow in Python. So we have similar like control flow types as we have in the other languages, that is if statements, for statements and while loops. So firstly we will cover if statements. So suppose we have to find if a number is even or odd, so we can write y is equals to 6. Suppose we have a variable that we have to check. If y modulus 2 is equals to 0 and colon, so we have to print it is even. So now we can see that we will get the answer as even. So you must remember that we have to include colon at every if statement after giving or specify the condition. So even if I write here the else statement, else print odd. So let me run this. So you will get error. So you don't forget to include colon after if or else statements or keywords. So now it will work. And even we have something and some keyword like elif that enables us to write a condition. Suppose y is equals to 1, so we want to print 1, and let me change the value of y, and yes, so we will get the value as 1. So the only thing you have to care about is the indentation. So after if block, the print statement or the anything you want to do under this if block, you need to give some space in it, otherwise you will get some error. As usual, the Python is only based upon indentation. Here comes for loops. So we can make a list, colors list, red, yellow, yellow, let's say blue, and we want to iterate over these colors and print it one by one. So for is the keyword, color in colors, that is our list, and we need to print color, the particular value. So let me run this out. Okay, so we are getting some error. So yes, I just forgotten to put for colon here. So you should always remember to put colon after for statement as well. So yes, we get all of our colors as the for loop is iterating over our list. So we can also combine for loop with if statements by iterating over some range of values and applying some check conditions in that for loop block. So here I want to discuss one more method, that is range method. In Python 2, the range gives you the list of integers, but in Python 3, the range gives you an iterator over the range. Suppose we want to write code for finding even or odd numbers from the range of values we pass to it. So for num in range, so range will have some parameters like start, from where the range will start, end, where the range will end, and the step. It is the size that the loop will jump. So we can first pass two arguments, that is 2, that is the start of range, and 10, that is the end of range. So after that, if num modulus 2 is equals to 0, then print found even number on, else print found odd number the value. Here you can see that we found even numbers and odd. So if we give here step size, suppose 2, so you can see that the for loop will run on 2, then on 4. So we will only get even numbers because our step size is 2 and our algorithm or for loop is jumping over this value. So here also you can see that 2 is included in the range, but 10 is not. After comes while loops. So while loops are also similar like other languages. So while I is less than 5, print I, and increment I with 1, or you can simply write I plus 1. So if you run this, you can see the values here printed. So it is similar like other programming languages, nothing new in it. And next comes the functions, and let's see how these are defined in Python. So def, we will write a simple function for even and odd numbers only. So we need to declare our function with the keyword def in Python. So even, odd maybe. And here I have to pass an argument that user will pass while calling this function. And let me copy our function here that we have made already. Okay, so remove this for loop from here. Oops. Then let's call our function and pass 14 maybe. Okay, so this is how the functions are defined and used in the Python. So we are going to use these functions multiple times while writing code in machine learning or writing algorithms for machine learning. After that, the last concept that is important, args and kwargs. Let us see them with an example. So let's write a function for finding sum of two numbers that are passed by user. Sum A and B, let's say, and let us conclude sum A plus B. Okay, so let me return this sum and let us call this function sum, and let's pass 1 and 4 maybe. And okay, so it is giving output. So if I want to pass some more arguments here, so these unknown arguments can be called in the function if we pass a parameter that is args. So these unknown parameters or values will be passed onto the function by args. So let me write the syntax here. So args, so let us print what this args contains. Okay, so let us see first. Okay, so you can see that our unknown parameters are there in the args. So our args parameter or argument contains these unknown parameters. So if we want to include both these unknown parameters in our sum, so we have to iterate over these args. For I in args, add this I to the sum, and now let's run it. Okay, so it is giving me some error. Let me see what is it. Okay, so let's run it. So here you can see that the values 5 and 6 has been added into the required sum. So now let's see what is this kwargs is. So suppose we have to pass the values with some keys to it. So we have some specified name that is given to the parameters. So we have C equals to 2 maybe, and D is equals to 10.5. So we can pass any type of values in it. So how can we call them? So let's see. So we need to pass kwargs in our function, and let's try to print it. Kwargs. Okay, so here you can see that the kwargs has some dictionary like structure. So if you want to print the type of these kwargs, the kwargs are defined in the class dictionary. So now how to include the values of these kwargs into our sum? So again we have to iterate upon these values. So for j in kwargs, as this is the dictionary format, so we have to take values and sum plus is equals to j. So now if we print out this, okay, sorry, I have missed s here. If we print here, so here you can see that you will get the total sum including the values of kwargs. So this was about the basic Python. In the next video, we will be talking about important Python libraries such as NumPy and Pandas. So thank you for watching the video. See you guys in the next lecture. Till then, take care and keep coding.